how are you doing today? Hope you're having an absolutely wonderful day. It is time to update. I'm sorry I'm out of breath. I just realized I'm like so out of breath. I was running around lighting the candle and fixing my curtain. I sat down, started to talk, and now I'm like, my goodness, that's not a good sign. All right, what was I saying? Oh, today we're doing Pan Those Eyeshadows. This is a very, very popular panning series. It's been around for several years now, and it was started by Alexi, who I like to link in the description box if you're interested in checking out her panning content. She's not on YouTube much anymore, but she has a lot of panning content from years previous, and it sort of caught on, or not sort of caught on, it did catch on, and a lot of people now do this project, and you can search the hashtag too for people who are doing this project. So the basis of this project is to get you a set of eyeshadows and hopefully to hit pan in eyeshadows, and many of us, we rearrange the rules a bit to match our circumstances. I'm really happy with my progress this month. Before I get into that, my tea of the day is from Tea Viver. This is, oh goodness, I don't have the package in front of me, I forgot what it's called. It's a type of oolong tea. It has a little bit of milk flavoring added to it. And this is one of the few teas that I like artificial flavoring in. I don't usually like it at all. And I think it's because it's just very slight. It just adds kind of a creaminess factor to this oolong, and I find it quite tasty. Okay, so as for my project right now, I've been working on 3 eyeshadows, specific eyeshadows. One of those eyeshadows comes from a palette that I'm trying to hit pan in more than one shade. And then I also am working on a palette where I'm just trying to hit a number of uses on. So let's go through all of those things. So first off, I have been working on the sultry palette. Not this, okay. Man, I just can't get it together today, can I? I've been working on a shade from the sultry palette, specifically this shade Slate. And I'm gonna put up a picture so you guys can see. My goal for this was to hit 20 uses. I have hit that goal, and you'll see from the picture, it looks like I have barely used this shadow. I really like this shadow. I use it every day as like the perfect eye contouring shade, but I use the tiniest dip of my brush into this shade. You guys may be familiar with ABH shadows. They are very pigmented, and especially with this my style of eye makeup, I don't like to wear too heavy of eyeshadow, and so I needed very, very little of this shade. So anyway, this type of shade is the reason why I give myself the 20 use goal. I have no idea how many uses it would take me to hit pan on this. Considering how it looks at 20 uses, I couldn't even, I don't know, start to speculate, maybe 80 to 100 uses for me to even hit pan on this. So even though I didn't hit pan, I am glad just for the usage and also just kind of discovered that shade. Before it was rolled in, I didn't realize how much I would enjoy it as an everyday crease like contouring shade. It's a really, really good shade because it's not too cool. I know like next to these other shades it looks like really, really cool, but it's actually not super blue toned. It works out really, really well. So anyway, that shade is rolling out, and even though I like that shade, I'm happy to be rolling in some summer colors. So let's move on to my other shades. So in my Cargo Cosmetics Tokyo in Bloom palette, this is the palette that I've been focusing on. I wanted to try and hit several pans in this palette this year, and the shade I was working on was this shade called Harajuku, and as you may see, there's a new pan in there. Woot woot! So now I have 5 pans in this palette. I really, really enjoyed using that shade, and the pans in this palette are pretty shallow. It doesn't take me too long with the shimmers to hit pan. I did have some previous usage on that shade before I started counting uses, but I think in the scope of this project, it took me, I think, 9 more uses for me to reach the bottom of the pan there. So I'm very, very happy to have a pan. Hooray! That's the goal, right? That's the goal. And I admit, for me, hitting pan has become even less and less of a goal. Now I just want to use my eyeshadows. As long as my eyeshadows look used, I'm happy. But the pan is nice to have. The third shadow I've been working on is this Depotted shade from the e.l.f. New Classics palette. This is the shade Darling. It's looking pretty much exactly the same. There isn't even really a dip going on. A little bit of disturbance on the top, but not much. And so far I have used this one 9 times, which I knew I wasn't going to reach for this one often in the past month because I was focused so much on using the Sultry palette. Now that I've reached my goal on that one, I can focus on this one. This is what I'm wearing in my crease today. It's a really nice, more warm brown, which is nice for this time of year. So 9 uses is a good start. I'm hopeful hopeful I can roll this out next month. As for the palette, my focus palette I'm just trying to hit a number of uses on. That would be the Urban Decay Mini Naked 3. So this is a 6-pan palette. My goal is to hit a goal of 20 uses on this palette, and I've actually been using it quite often. I'm wearing it today. I'm wearing the shade Public all over my lid and the shade Glassy in my inner corner. And that's typically how I've been using it. I have reached for the mattes a few times, but mostly I've been reaching for the shimmer shades, and I've been enjoying using it. I think it's a handy little palette if you like this color story. And I'm currently up to 12 uses on it, so only 8 more uses to go, which normally I would say, yeah, I can smash that out and roll in a different palette for next month, but I'm gonna be quite busy in the month of June. We'll see what I can accomplish in terms of using up any makeup in June. I will see. I'll make it a goal, but again, we'll see. Okay, so I hit my goal on 2 eyeshadows, so now it's time to roll in some new things. So I've been thinking quite a bit about this project. I've been feeling a little bit of eyeshadow panning fatigue. I've been kind of in the mode where I just want to use whatever I want, which I don't like to tell myself I can't do that. I mean, it's my makeup collection. Why can't I let myself use whatever I want? But I find that when I have goals, I do tell myself, I'm like, no, you can't use that. You have to use this to hit your goals. And so I've been feeling kind of burned out lately on eyeshadow panning. So instead of randomly rolling in shades, I'm going to try and get my enthusiasm going again by picking shades instead of actually rolling in random shades. So the first shade I'm gonna roll in is this one from Makeup Geek. If you guys have been around on my channel for a little while, you know that this is one of my very favorite shades ever. This is In the Spotlight. Oh, I absolutely love this, and it's super appropriate, I feel, for this time of year. So that's In the Spotlight from Makeup Geek, and I'm already really close to pan on this. I'll put a picture up so you can see it better. I do not anticipate this taking much longer to hit pan. I did have this in another project last year. Yes, last year in my You Pan My Battleship project. So I know I'm so close. So I'm really hopeful that it won't take me too long to hit pan on this, and then I can move on to other things and hopefully keep myself from really hitting eyeshadow burnout. The other thing I'm going to do is, again, I've hit 5 pans in this palette. I'm ready to retire it for now and move on to a different focus palette. And I think I want to go back to the palette that I was working on before that one. I'm gonna pull my Master Palette by Mario, by ABH palette back out, and I do have some pans in this palette already, but I'm kind of ready now to work on some of the warmer shades in this palette that I didn't really reach for previously. So for instance, the shade Hollywood is like a light gold shade. The shade Kim, which it's actually more smoky than you'd think from looking at it in the pan, at least it is on my lids. And also the shade Isabel. All of those are shades that I'm willing to wear this time of year. So I think it's a good time to roll it back in. I'm not entirely sure which shade I will focus on for first. I tend to, sometimes when I pick a shade, I'm like, yes, I'm gonna work on that one, and then I totally do something different. So just know that I will be focusing in on this palette and focusing in on a specific shade to hopefully hit pan on. I find that hitting pan in this palette can be either really quickly or take an extremely long time. Like I've worked on this shade Bronx, and I feel like I wore that shade quite a bit. I can't think of a number, and there's a tiny little dip going in it, but that one is just very pigmented. It takes a long time for me to show any usage on that one. Same with the shade Claudia. I've used that before in projects, and I haven't even tried to hit pan on the mattes before. So anyway, we'll see how it goes with this summer, but I'm excited to have this pulled back out again. Just for the purpose of swatching, I'm just gonna pick out the shade Hollywood. That might be one of the shades that I focus on first, and then I will again swatch the e.l.f. shade. All right, there's the shade from e.l.f., Makeup Geek, In the Spotlight, and the shade Hollywood from the Mario palette. So those are probably going to be the 3 shades I will be focusing on this month. I'm hopeful I can roll at least one out next time. Thank you guys so much for watching. That's it for my little update. If you are also doing eyeshadow panning, are you kind of feeling like me and kind of feeling a little bit of burnout, or are you still hitting your stride and really going with the project? Let me know down below. Anyway, I hope that you guys have an absolutely wonderful day. I will see you again very soon in my next video. Bye!